Across America, a silent crisis is unfolding. While some states boom with growth and opportunity, others are withering away. From the East Coast to the West, entire states are fading into oblivion as residents flee in droves. What forces are driving this exodus, and which states are being left behind? Get ready to count down the top 10 fastest dying U.S. states. Before we begin, let me ask you, have you ever felt the pull to pack up and leave your home state behind? More and more Americans are voting with their feet these days. Some seek better job opportunities, others can't afford the cost of living, or want a change of scenery or lifestyle. But what happens when an entire state starts hemorrhaging residents year after year? That's what we're exploring today. The states turning into virtual ghost towns as people abandon them by the hundreds of thousands. Brace yourselves, because some of these population declines are straight up apocalyptic. As they say, people vote with their feet. Let's kick it off with the number 10 on the countdown. Ohio. At number 10, we have the Buckeye state of Ohio. With just a 0.4% population decline, it may not seem like much, but let me put it into perspective for you. That's over 43,000 people who decided Ohio was no longer for them. And who can blame them? The state is facing an uphill battle with sluggish job creation, an inability to attract immigrants, and a lack of elite public research universities. It's a vicious cycle. The more people leave, the less tax revenue there is to invest in the amenities that could convince others to stay. The real kicker, Ohio's total fertility rate has plummeted over the past decade, meaning even the next generation is uncertain about putting down roots here. Number 9, Michigan. Sliding in at number 9 is the Mitten State of Michigan. Now you may be thinking, the home of the big three automakers, how could people possibly be leaving? Well, folks, with a 0.4% drop, the state lost over 44,000 residents within the last year. The cracks are starting to show now. You see, Michigan is facing a severe labor shortage crisis that is affecting every sector from education and healthcare to, wait for it, even your local Coney Island diners. The state has been running short on skilled workforce for years now, and it's not just the present that looks grim. The report points to Michigan's historically low birth rates as a ticking time bomb for the state's future population. Less people means less tax dollars, which means crumbling infrastructure and public services. For the time being, Michigan seems to be stuck real bad. Are you enjoying this video so far? If so, then please hit that like button. It helps my channel a lot to reach more people like you. Alright, back to the topic now. Number 8, Massachusetts. Say hello to the comeback kid at number 8, Massachusetts. Despite being home to some of the most prestigious universities and economic powerhouses in America, the Bay State still managed to lose nearly 48,000 residents over the past year. That's a 0.7% population loss in just a year. So what's driving people away from this intellectual and financial hub? Massachusetts has one of the highest costs of living and tax burdens in the entire nation. In March of this year, Boston had the second highest median asking rent in the country behind New York, and the third highest year-over-year rent increases, a report says. Slap on some notoriously unreliable public transit and bumper-to-bumper traffic congestion, and it's no wonder even high-income earners are questioning if the Massachusetts dream is worth it anymore. After all, what good is making six figures if you can't afford a decent apartment and spend most of your time stuck on the roads? Food for thought indeed. Number 7, Mississippi. Weighing in at number 7 is the state of Mississippi. Now I know what you're thinking. How could people possibly be fleeing the hospitality and comfort of Southern living? Well, folks, with over 21,000 residents gone in just the last 12 months alone, it seems the struggles of Mississippi's economic decline and lack of opportunities are finally catching up. This state is facing the harsh reality of a dwindling working-age population, crumbling small towns, and a stunning 20.8% poverty rate, the highest in America. Other factors including social problems, environmental issues, or lack of amenities contribute to differing rates of population decline in small towns. It is one of the poorest states in the U.S. as mentioned in our previous video, So is it any surprise that people, especially the young and ambitious, are leaving in search of greener pastures? Mississippi's population decline may be a drop in the bucket for now, but if the state doesn't turn things around soon, it could be headed for a serious brain drain catastrophe. Number 6. Hawaii. Aloha, and welcome to number 6, the tropical paradise of Hawaii. Now I can already hear your objections. How could anyone willingly leave behind those sun-drenched beaches, volcanic landscapes, and that laid-back island lifestyle? I get you, but when you look past the picturesque surface, the reality is that Hawaii has the second highest tax burden and overall cost of living in America. That's the 11.80% tax burden we are talking about. So idyllic as it may seem to outsiders, tell that to the 15,000 residents who decided to ditch the islands over the past year alone in search of relief. From unaffordable housing and skyrocketing rents to limited career prospects and opportunities on the mainland, these economic pressures are making it impossible for many to maintain the Hawaii dream. And let's not forget, every resident who leaves creates a ripple effect that could destabilize Hawaii's already vulnerable labor force and local businesses. So for now, aloha may sound more bitter than sweet. Before we move on to the next state, please hit that like and subscribe button if you have enjoyed this video so far. Number 5. West Virginia. Halfway through our list is West Virginia at number 5. Now you may know it as almost heaven, but for over 18,000 residents last year, it was more like agonizing purgatory. That's a 1% population drop in a year. While the mountain state boasts beautiful landscapes and an abundance of natural resources, the lack of opportunity and poor public policy has cast a dark cloud over its future. From teachers fleeing for higher pay in neighboring states to a widespread lack of digital connectivity that makes the entire region feel decades behind, West Virginia is hemorrhaging people at an unsustainable rate. Factor in more deaths than births over the past 3 years, and this spells a crisis that West Virginia may struggle to recover from. The old proverb, "You can't stop progress," has never rung truer. Number 4. California. How the mighty have fallen. The archetypal land of endless opportunity and sun-kissed dreaming has lost over 509,000 residents just this past year. That is a 1.3% population loss. So what could be driving this golden exodus from the Golden State? Well, the reasons are as varied as California's diverse landscape itself. Rapidly rising housing costs have made the American dream unattainable for many. In a recent survey, about a third of Californians say they are considering moving out of the state due to housing costs. Then there are constant natural threats like wildfires and droughts, and yes, even misguided government policies that have crippled the state's finances and business climate. When you combine the nation's 5th highest tax burden with policies that seem to chase away businesses and jobs hand over fist, it's no wonder over a third of Californians are considering fleeing for affordable living. Number 3. Louisiana. Laissez-les bon temps ruler. Not quite for Louisiana, coming in at a disappointing number 3 on our list. Louisiana's population continued its decline for the 3rd consecutive year. According to new estimates from the U.S. Census Bureau suggests Louisiana is shrinking at a faster clip than nearly any other state. When the rest of the booming South has grown by a staggering 3%, Louisiana has been left in the dust, hemorrhaging over 67,000 residents and clocking in a massive population decline of 1.4% in just this past year alone. The culprits, a toxic mix of low employment prospects, subpar education, skyrocketing insurance costs in the wake of devastating hurricanes, and some of the highest crime rates for any state in America. It's a 1-2 punch that has left many questioning why they should stick it out in the Bayou state when prosperous opportunities await elsewhere. And the data doesn't lie. Entire parishes have seen population freefalls of over 15% as people flee the very places that were supposed to embody Louisiana's unmistakable culture and zest for life. Number 2. Illinois. At a jaw-dropping number 2, we have the prairie state of Illinois. With an astonishing 230,000 residents gone in just the last year, it's safe to say the leadership in Illinois has completely dropped the ball. You see, this Midwestern jewel boasts the fourth highest state debt per capita, a torrid pace of one person leaving every 6 minutes, and some of the highest tax rates on both individuals and businesses when compared to the rest of the nation. It's a perfect recipe for disaster that has left many rightfully voting with their feet and seeking opportunity elsewhere. From retiring seniors to those simply seeking a lower cost of living and job prospects, Illinois is being drained of its lifeblood at a concerning rate. And don't be fooled by the old blame it on the winters excuse. The writing is on the wall that people are fleeing due to continuous mismanagement, not Mother Nature's fury. Number 1, New York, and finally, the state that has penned a brand new chapter in the American Exodus, New York. With a mind-boggling population decline of 2.6%, equating to over 524,000 residents gone in just 1 year, the Empire State has undisputedly claimed the ignominious top spot. The causes are as varied as the neighborhoods that make up the iconic New York City skyline. Excessive taxation that gives New York the highest overall burden in the entire country? Check. A botched pandemic response that decimated jobs and the state's economy to an unprecedented degree? You bet. Ballooning crime rates that have made streets feel increasingly unsafe? Unfortunately so, but perhaps most damning of all, the simple fact that for every new resident moving in, more than 2 existing New Yorkers are getting the heck out of Dodge. An astonishing net outflow of over 216,000 just in this past year alone. It's the ultimate vote of no confidence that has social commentators speculating, is the New York dream finally dead? So as an era closes on what was once the shining beacon of the American ideal, one can't help but wonder, is New York's fall from grace a cautionary tale for the rest of the nation? Have we been a witness to the once unthinkable, the dimming of the bright lights in the Big Apple? Only time will tell if this remarkable exodus can be reversed, or if New York's best days are firmly behind it. As you've seen, people will ultimately go where they believe they can create the best life for themselves and their families. Check out this next video on your screen to explore the states where people are moving to in flocks.